Hi, and welcome to At-Home Art Lessons with the Art Groupies, where we develop great art habits. We're going to work with this guy today, Elvis. Elvis is going to help us imagine what it's going to be like to work with gold in our artwork. We're inspired by this guy, Gustav Klimt, who was an artist who was born in Vienna. His father was a gold engraver and introduced Gustav and taught him how to work with gold. So it then worked and was placed into his paintings, into his artwork. He is famous for that beautiful picture called The Kiss. He was known for a new art movement or a new style called Art Nouveau, which is all about symbols, patterns, and designs. Gustav Klimt also inspired this story called The Magical Tree, and I highly recommend. It has all of his beautiful spiral designs and other little intricate patterns that he uses in his art. So Gustav Klimt, The Magical Tree. We're going to be creating a magical fish today, and we're going to be doing it on a piece of tin foil, and we're going to be using sharpies. We're going to be inspired by all of Gustav Klimt's beautiful patterns and designs and his shapes that he loved to use in his artwork. So we're going to start with a black Sharpie. On one end of the paper is going to be where we start our fish's head. And we're going to just simply use the big letter U on its side. You go in here, and for this first line, you kind of want to make it a little thick to really pop out and to be different from those other lines. So don't be afraid to go back in there, go over that, and make that line a little bit thicker. So after we have the shape of our fish head, we're going to come up here to the top and continue on with our fish fin at the top. So I just extended that line, and now I'm going to come down with a little small vertical line. Going to come down here and start with my first fin at the bottom, and I'm just going to simply make what appears to be the beginning of a triangle, and then I'm going to come up here and finish off my fin. So a different type of shape for a fin. Almost looks like the upside down shape of a house, I guess, this being the roof. Then I'm going to continue on with my horizon or horizontal line for the belly of my fish. I'm going to make another one of those fins for the bottom part of my fish. I'm going to make sure that line is nice and thick so you can see it. So voila. I got two fins for my fish, and now I'm going to continue with the body, the back end of my fish, and I'm going to come in almost like on a slant and begin his tail. So this will be the end of my fish's body, and now I'm going to do a big triangle for his tail. I'm going to try to use as much space in my tinfoil as I can. Gotta say, it's been a long time since I've used tinfoil in my creations. And who best to be inspired by than Gustav Klimt with a piece of tinfoil, because he was all about the glitter, the gold, the different beautiful metallics. So I have the design of my fish. Now I want to split my fish into segments or sections so I can use as many of my Gustav Klimt's patterns and shapes and designs that make Gustav so beautiful in his Art Nouveau style. So I'm going to very simply just make a line to separate his head. Make a big eye here, big circle for his eye. I'm also going to use a shape to separate the top of his head from the bottom of his head. Going to do the same thing for this section of his body. So I have the top of his body and the bottom. More sections, the more designs I can make. Going to section off his tail. And again, I'm going to make those lines nice and thick, just to have a little contrast between the fish and the designs. So I'll separate his upper fin, maybe separate the bottom with a little unique upside down letter V. So voila, I'm finished with the design of my fish. Now I want to use all those beautiful shapes that have inspired Gustav throughout his career. My favorite shape of all time is that beautiful spiral. And you notice several artists use that spiral in their artwork. I'm going to use a beautiful copper colored Sharpie, and I'm just going to almost make the texture of my fish, but I'm going to do it, instead of making it appear like he has scales, I'm going to give him Gustav Klimt inspired scales, and I'm going to use that beautiful spiral. And I'm going to try to leave some spaces there because I want to use as many colors as I can besides the metallic copper. I'm also going to use some gold, and I'm going to use a variety of size as well. So that also makes for more interesting art, is by varying your size. So I have some beautiful spirals in here. I can continue those on. I can think of some beautiful designs that Gustav uses throughout his art. Maybe color some of these designs in. Maybe some of these beautiful oval shapes that he used. He visited Italy quite often and was inspired by the Italy mosaics that were in the museums. And he also used pieces of glass in his art to decorate and symbolize his different paintings. I think he was also, besides being inspired by his father to add gold, he was also inspired by his longtime girlfriend who owned a boutique in Vienna with beautiful dresses. And I think he was inspired by the beautiful designs in the fabric of the dresses. So I made some interesting lines up here. Could also continue with some of those Gustav Klimt's inspirational patterns and designs in between there. Can also make some more in his face here with some triangles. So ovals, spirals, triangles, all these beautiful shapes inspired Gustav's art to be very symbolic. Like I said, I think he was really inspired by his girlfriend's dresses and boutique and designs that she put in her art. You can also think about putting some spirals here in the water, maybe making it appear like his tree of life with the branches, and also using a variety of colors and designs spices up your picture. You can use some red in here, not just using metallic, but using some of this red would really make this design pop. So have fun. It's kind of almost like a doodling extravaganza, making your Gustav Klimt fish out of tinfoil. I hope you are inspired and have a good time creating your fish. Thanks for joining me. Enjoy.